Welcome back to the Bigger Life Podcast. I'm Ben Goffredson. I have Micah in the studio producing today. We needed to get on this podcast and just explain where I have been for the last couple months. I have been everywhere from Australia and New Zealand to Alaska, bear hunting, and back again. And we just moved my brother and sister-in-law from Florida back home from Orlando. Nate graduated from UCF Medical School, so we just got back from that last night, 6 a.m., but we're at it. I got a lot of good guests scheduled for the Bigger Life Podcast, so the next couple months you're going to see some high octane individuals come on and drop some knowledge bombs on us. But me and Micah just wanted to kind of do a catch-up episode today before we bring on a lot of guests, just kind of fill you in on what we've been up to. I feel like one of the biggest things, is with building the bigger life, I kind of have to just stick with the biggest priorities come first, right? So my family, obviously, there's a lot of time I want to invest into them. My kids are growing up. McKinley is so smart. She's just talking and telling me stories, and she's so fun to spend time with. Bryson is climbing stairs. He's crawling so fast. The kid is huge. He's doing pull-ups on tables and crazy things I never thought a baby could do. So that's been my big something that's sucked up a lot of my time. Also, church stuff too. With the move, it was really important to me to kind of finish strong with my calling. I was the deacons quorum leader. And man, we didn't even stay in that ward for 5 years, but when you leave, you realize how close you are with the people that are there. And so it finished off with some fun activities, and that's not even to mention the demands of our business, which maybe we can get into. But, these three businesses, Big Ben's Moving, Big Storage Ventures, and Big Storage Holdings, they really demand my time, but we're bought into the vision of the Bigger Life Podcast and creating content, creating value with our guests, and being able to kind of add some value. And I think it's important we set aside time for that. So thanks for listening. I feel like one big thing just to share kind of like our moving company's goals. Our moving company has a goal of $750,000 in profit this year. And a big piece of it is marketing. My strengths are, I have a lot of sales strengths. I have a lot of operational strengths and a lot of leadership strengths and traditional marketing, right? So I know how to sell. I know how to deliver on what I sell. I know how to lead a team, and I know how to go drum up business the old fashioned way. Shaking hands and, providing value, giving referrals, passing business. Like that's kind of how I built this business, was on the back of traditional marketing. But we're at this point where we have to focus on this digital marketing piece. Like I know we will die unless we get good at digital marketing. So we're investing in things like AI, and, we're trying to get good at paid ads, and we're trying to get good at all of the, obviously SEO. So all the things that are my weakness are kind of the focus of the moving company right now. It's been, a lot of pushing me out of my comfort zone. Like when I get the, report that our business is going to be using AI from now on, it's like, ooh, I don't know if I want that. I like having a human handle on everything, but I just remember, and I've heard about the people who said the internet was going to ruin everything. There was a lot of people that are like, we're not going to have internet in our business, and they literally died from that. So we're not going to do that. We're trying to embrace all this technology and make our weakness strengths. Tons of setbacks with, just making sure we're up to date on compliance, making sure all of our guys are well fed financially. Tons of scaling challenges that are really exciting, and we're really grateful. But we had a record quarter one. We did better in quarter one of this year than we have in any quarter of any previous year, which basically just means that our slow season from this year is as good as any busy season we've had. So I'm excited to see the numbers from quarter two, quarter three. And our true goal with the marketing is that we don't have a big fall off in quarter four like we typically do around Thanksgiving and Christmas. So just looking for ways to promote guys who are providing value in the moving company and help them to, serve our customers better. Big Storage Ventures side, we're seeing a buyer's market. Really, really exciting. Storage facilities are on sale. And so we are having to pick and choose which storage facilities we want to buy. I feel like if we had the opportunities that we're seeing, say 2 or 3 years ago, we would be over the moon. And now we're kind of being picky and we have to decide, okay, we have, maybe 4 good deals. We can only buy 2 of them and we have to make some tough decisions, but it's really exciting. We're providing a lot of opportunities for others to get in the game. There's a lot of pain in the marketplace as far as people that thought they could time the market or thought that storage was just a get rich quick scheme where maybe they saw what happened in 2021 and they just thought it was printing money, and now their storage facilities are for sale. So we have an exciting opportunity just down the road in Littlefield. It's just 25 minutes away, that they were selling this property at $2.9 million. And they had a storage facility with some land that they thought that the land was going to be valuable for like a big truck stop or gas station, a Maverick or, Flying J or something. And we told them the facility is worth 1.36 mil. They basically, laughed at us and said, oh, well, we're going to get way more than that. And we said, well, look, like what you need to do is sell your storage facility separate from your gas station land. We're storage operators. We don't have any use for your gas station land. So that's probably what we'd recommend, is just selling us that, and then you can sell your gas station land to someone else. So they told us, not a chance. They got under contract with a couple other people and it always fell out of contract, and they called us 9 months later. So we got that deal. We're really thrilled about that. That's one that's open and we're still putting the team together for, but it's fun. I put up my own money and we just closed the deal because we're so excited about it. Other ones in North Carolina, 100% full. And that's one that, we can go ahead and adjust rates day one. So we'll look forward to a trip out to North Carolina. I'm sure the guys will talk me into some golf or a beach day after 2 or 3 days of hard work. But Big Storage Ventures is exciting. Jack, Callan is a workhorse. The reason he's kind of stepping away from the podcast is just because he's so dedicated to Big Storage Ventures and Big Storage Holdings and building out more wealth for him and his family that, I don't know if the podcast is really the best use of his time, but we'll always remember him and have him on as a guest host. But he's crushing it, and we're continually putting a little bit more money in his pocket all the time, and really grateful to have him as a business partner. Jack just graduated college, so he is pinning his ears back and just getting to work. And Matt is on a summer break, so all of a sudden we have the full team full time. And things are really heating up for Big Storage Ventures. Big Storage Holdings is, a lot of ups and downs. We have some facilities that are outperforming anything we projected. Finally, like a lot of our goals are hitting. We have our new Cedar City facility that's just leasing up like crazy. We just filled it up with a big taxidermy trophy collection that we're really excited about. And a lot of our investments are going great. We have had, crazy stuff happen. Like we have video of at one of our facilities of someone slapping a girl around. And the story is the guy, so the storage unit's in the girl's name. The guy takes another woman in her storage unit and cheats on her. And then she calls him out on it when they're at the storage facility and he starts slapping her around. We got that on video. Freaking blew my mind. Hard to watch, honestly. We submitted that footage to the cops ASAP. We also had someone overdose on drugs and die on site at one of our storage facilities, which was freaking insane. So I'm not trying to, scare anyone away from the best asset class in the world. We're still financially doing well, but like, this is just a little sneak peek into some of the things that we deal with. And most of our facilities are in super safe areas, but all it takes is one crazy to come in your facility, rent a unit, and start doing weird stuff. And so we're investing in technology. Our latest project is a camera horn system where if we see someone, we can just set off a siren and start yelling at them through our phone. So excited to see how that one plays out. Just anything we can do to keep our facilities top notch and safe. And I feel like it's better not to turn a blind eye to it, but just to acknowledge that it's happening and just fix the problem, get it back to where you need it to be. So, a ton of ups and downs. We've had to fire 3 people this quarter in Big Storage Holdings because the core value for Big Storage Holdings is keeping our promises that we've made to people who put money in our deals in Big Storage Ventures. And if our boots on the ground, the people that we're trusting to actually do the work, if they're not keeping those promises, they're gone. So, it's never easy firing people. It always sucks to train someone new. And, some people, they got to go. They're bad at everything. Some people, it's really tough. Like we had this guy who he was such a good communicator. He basically just fooled us, right? Like he was just telling us like everything we wanted to hear, really good at touching base, really good at checking in, but he seriously let us down on delivering on everything he was saying. So that's something that I feel like should be, we should talk about. That is the reality of having to fire people and train new people. Micah, would you mind getting that door? I think that'll help with this. What's that?
I put it in the notes to make sure I cut it out.
Okay.
The bad audio.
Thanks. A couple cuts today, but I'm understandably rusty after a few months off, right? Yep. So, but what I miss on the businesses, Micah. Freaking ton of this crazy stuff happening, right?
I don't know if some of this is an update for me.
I know. Mike is hearing this for the first time in real time. Yeah, I think it's a amazing journey. Really grateful. I feel a constant give and take between like, who do I lay off or who do I give a raise to? Who do I work with? Like now that I have such a big team, my new focus is finding out who is providing a surplus of value and making sure that they get a raise so I can retain them, and who's just kind of riding the coattails of the rest of the team, right? Who's just punching the clock, who's doing mediocre work, who is, basically dead weight, and basically cutting the fat so that I can give the people who are really carrying the team more money. And, it's really tricky to figure out where's the inefficiencies, and building a system to where I don't want my all day, every day to be micromanaging and checking in with people. I want that, I want the system where I just check in with my CEOs and they check in with, everybody else, right? So there's a system in place, but digging in and being willing to look in the mirror at our business and see, where is that not happening? Why are we profiting so much in one business, but then in another business, we can't even, achieve our basic goals, right? So I think we address it. We fixed a lot of stuff. We're hiring new, exciting executives and people at the entry level as well. So lots of fun things. lots of exciting stuff with the businesses that we could rant on for a long time. Let's see. Okay. One thing that's worth noting is, I try to book vacations well in advance. Before we had kids, we were vacationing fools. Like, we went on international trips every quarter. We just loved it. It was cheaper. It was easier. It was, an exciting time of life. And I try to keep booking it with kids. And we just had an amazing bucket list trip to New Zealand and Australia. So if you're going to go, DM me, call me. I'd love to help plan your trip. It's like a super nerdy thing of mine, but highlights have to be Hobbiton, where they shot the Lord of the Rings. It's not overrated. It's every bit as magical as you would hope. I'm a big geek, but super fun. We even did the Tongariro Crossing hike. I carried Bryson on my back, and there's these beautiful crystal, volcanic turquoise lakes at the top. They shot some Lord of the Rings scenes there. We even saw someone get life flighted out. We did bungee jumping in Queenstown, and probably to cap it off, we scuba dived the Great Barrier Reef, which I actually did a lot of reading, and I found out that I went in the off season. Like, we were there in March, and I guess the off season, that's like the worst time to go. It was magical. So if you're ever on that side of the world, go scuba dive the Great Barrier Reef. And the off season was like, we saw beautiful corals, all sorts of fish, gray sharks, white sharks. We saw turtles. We saw everything you could hope for in that experience. So it was good. As you get closer, this is probably a higher pressure time for me than honestly ever before. And so it was probably, as we got closer to it, it was hard to go, but we booked it so far in advance. It was like, yeah, we're going. We're not gonna back out of this. And my dad, he got me to go out to Alaska. It was amazing. Me and both my brothers and my dad, we got to go. Was a character building bonding experience, because our only shot at a bear was in our first 5 minutes of hunting. We happened upon a big black grizzly bear, and we shot it, and we followed a big blood trail, and we never found the bear. And we spent probably 3 or 4 more days just hiking. And we went to this restaurant, and it was this lady with these 2 kids, and they were whispering to her, like, what are those guys dressed in waders for? So she's like, are you guys fishing or bird watching? And I said, well, more like bird watching. We're trying to bear hunt, but we're not having any luck. So we called it a bird watching trip. But amazing memories with my brothers. It probably is the last time in a long time we'll get to have a guys trip with both brothers and my dad. My brother's starting residency, and Matt's moving on in life. So, I think those types of things are good resets to plug in your calendar months and years in advance, because it's oftentimes not going to be super convenient. When you're creating an experience with family, you never regret it, right? So this life is all about experiences and relationships. We've talked about this before on the podcast, but not a car guy, not a watch guy. Obviously, I'm in this big, nice house that I'm really grateful for, but the cars and the clothes don't really match, if you know what I mean. So I just can't justify it. If I have any discretionary income, I want to put it into an experience in a relationship. And so they do help you see the bigger picture, because you regroup, you reset. Oftentimes you get to pull your eyes up from the day to day, and you can see things in your life, priorities that might be out of whack, or inefficiencies in your business that you might be able to see better from a 10,000 square foot view. But also you remember that, we're here to have joy and build those relationships, not just work our life away. And then, maybe at the end of your life, you get some reward. Like, take deposits all along the way. And I think a lot of people don't have a vehicle that can afford them that, right? Like, a lot of people, they don't have the wiggle room or the breathing room to take anything along the way. Like their plan is, I got to work, invest, and when I'm retired, I'll go travel or I'll go do something with my family. But till then, there's no wiggle room. I think it's worth the pain of like reconstructing your vehicle and like if saying like, oh, well, if this is my trajectory, like I'm not saying that you can't put your head down for 5 years and, be an entrepreneur, like someone that works in my company. If they give their all for 5 years, they're going to be sitting pretty. They're going to be, owning commercial real estate, on their way to passive income, lots of PTO. But so like, I'm not saying that you can't put your head down for 5 years, but like if your plan is to put your head down for 30 or 40 years, reset, like break that vehicle, like quit that job, do whatever you have to do to get out of that dead end or the golden handcuffs. And even if it's hard and you have to make less money for a time, I think it's really important to just pick a vehicle that will provide you with enough along the way that you can go do something fun, do something nice, treat yourself, your family, to an experience. Whether it doesn't have to be New Zealand and Australia, that could be, camping trips in the woods or, little trips to Disneyland, or it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just creating the environment for those relationships to build. So yeah, good question, Micah. Oh yeah. Like so many exciting things right now. We're dealing with like, I think, this is a time for me. This is a time to focus in. So we just talked about the trips. We committed to 2 more. Like we're going to Lake Powell in Alaska. That's kind of our 2 that we have to do. It's just our family tradition. But yeah, we're gonna pump the brakes on a lot of these extracurriculars. I'm gonna be diving back. You'll find a lot more podcasts the next 12 months. Just because we're going to be locked back into the work, the routine, everything else like that. My businesses need me right now, and they need my attention to help train the executives and put good systems in place. And it's funny because we grow to a certain point, and we talked about the financial side of this, how you grow to a certain point, you become profitable, and then you have to invest into the next thing. So financially, you have to keep making sacrifices to get more profitable and go on and on and on. But that's not even talking about the work side, like the organizational side. Like our org chart for Big Storage Holdings, for example, changes dramatically, right? So when we buy 2 or 3 storage facilities in 60 days, like our entire business just grows by 35%. So we basically need so much more help that we have to reset our org chart and our accountability structure and our executive team and who's wearing what hat, like every quarter. And so we can't even get into a good solid groove of like, okay, this is my job. My team has to evolve constantly. And so that's what's next, honestly, is we're dealing with, these lease ups with our Provo facility, our Cedar West facility, that for us, that's top priority, is keeping the promises we've already made. We have a lot of stable facilities that are just, they're going to keep making more money with good rent management and cruise control. We also have, some acquisitions in the pipeline that we're trying to button up and get the business plan in place, get the team together that wants to participate as partners in that deal. And so that keeps our hands full. On the moving side, we have so much to do with our growing volume and making sure the quality stays high. So this next, 12 months, you're going to see me locked back into a lot of this type of work. Yeah, good question. My definition of a bigger life is constantly evolving, right? So I think it's healthy to have seasons, right? Seasons where, like I just referenced all our travels, right? Like we're going to be traveling a lot less because our kids are now our focus. We're going to be putting kids in swimming lessons and soccer leagues and stuff like that. And that is part of living big. You don't have to do big bucket list things every quarter to live a bigger life. Like pouring into a child or a passion, close to home is maybe that's what you need for your bigger life to keep expanding right now. And for me, that's what season I'm in, is pouring back into my businesses, pouring into my kids, my wife. Like Lauren is so selfless. She is always up with Bryson. I help when I can, but till we wean him, it's kind of like, she takes point with our baby. So watching her grow into the mom that she has been transformative for me. It was just Mother's Day a couple weeks ago, and I silently just think to myself and brag, like, who has someone that they trust to be the number one influence on their kids and be that mom that they're also so passionately in love with. And so I know a lot of people have both, but I also know people who don't have both, where maybe that person's not a good parent, or maybe they're not, that they don't have that same fire. So really grateful for her carrying us through. She takes care of a lot of stuff for us. And yeah, I just think the bigger life is continually evolving to us. We have some really exciting guests coming on. Our next lineup is Nick Rastchapin. We'll have to get his pronunciation right on his last name when he's on. There you go. Nick Rastoption, Tanner Garfield. We have Andrea Wild coming to town for some networking, so she's going to hop on. So our lineup should be pretty powerful the next couple of weeks. I'm really grateful to have a little reset, let you guys know I'm not going anywhere, just regrouping, trying to get high quality guests and get the setup right for you. So I would just challenge you to think, in the next 7 days, what's something that you can do or put on your calendar to live a bigger life. And we will see you next time.